back to another My First Time. A very special episode.
Of my first time?
Your first time, Steve. Because today, your life is going to be forever changed. Take it for somebody who's seen this movie.
What movie?
Won't you be my neighbor?
Oh, the Mr. Rogers documentary.
Yeah,
I have not seen that.
I know. And the movie's coming out. Tom Hanks is playing Mr. Rogers.
Tom Hanks.
He's playing Mr. Rogers.
Ray Stevens from The Burbs. What's his name from Joe versus the Volcano? Probably Joe. Josh from Big. The guy who's already played Walt Disney and now he gets to play Mr. Rogers?
Yeah.
5 totally real life characters? That's incredible.
Wait, Josh wasn't real. Big?
Big wasn't real?
No.
Sonny.
But the guy from Catch Me If You Can was, and you forgot about that one.
Oh! And the guy from Bridge of Spies.
Yes!
And
the guy from The Post.
The guy from The Post. Tom Hanks has played a lot of real guys.
And Tully.
Sully.
Captain Phillips.
Captain Phillips. Wow.
He's America's sweetheart, Tom Hanks.
That's very true. He's America's sweetheart. He's California's sweetest heart.
Right. And he's going to be Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
You can't get sweeter than Mr. Rogers.
But we're not watching that movie. We're watching
Won't You Be My Neighbor, a documentary based on the life of Mr. Rogers.
Starring the real Mr. Rogers.
Exactly.
Fred Rogers, right?
Yes, indeed.
It's Fred, right?
And you know, all the rumors about, like, was he a SEAL, was he not, is addressed in this movie. Everything you want to know about Mr. Rogers. Is it all an act? Was it real? You'll find out now. Did you watch Mr. Rogers growing up as a kid?
Quite a bit.
So you went to the land of make-believe?
A lot.
Okay.
I am not entirely sure I ever returned. Oh. That was real.
So let's go ahead and let's go off to the land of make-believe, Steve. Choo-choo! And let's go on your journey. And be forewarned, audience, there might be tears in his eyes after watching this movie.
I don't have emotions.
One thing that evil cannot stand, and that is forgiveness.
Well, we just finished watching Won't You Be My Neighbor, the Mr. Rogers documentary. I don't know what this guy's up to. Again?
What did you think of the movie?
I thought it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster. And it brought back a lot of memories of being a very small child watching Mr. Rogers, being a much bigger child watching Mr. Rogers. I'd say I was probably checking in with him pretty regularly till about 7 or 8 years old. And it was a really beautiful story to see, you know. It reminded me a lot of the time that I spent with him, and it also showed me a lot of news stories about stuff that was going on in Fred Rogers' world that I didn't know about, and that was a pretty beautiful thing to see.
Mr. Moulton, Mr. Dominguez, I have to run. I'll let you guys finish this alone.
Well,
bye, Steve.
You're not gonna.
Bye, Sonny.
I didn't even know the cops were here, man. When did you let him in?
Oh, he's always here. So that was a great My First Time. You cry a little bit? You cry?
No, I didn't cry.
I did.
I came pretty darn close to crying a couple times.
Dude, I mean, just everything that the movie just touches on.
Pretty rad story about a pretty cool guy who wasn't, on the surface, didn't come across as radical at all. But, you know, he was certainly an outlier for the way things were going in television.
Yeah, for sure.
For all of his career, which is pretty much from the beginning of television onward.
Steve, that's your first time watching
Won't You Be
My Neighbor?